Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'd first like to say a huge thanks to everybody that watched my last video, and especially those that talked to me about it. It was really amazing to me to know that I made a small difference to some people, and I really appreciated it. It really inspired me to do some more. So this week I'd like to talk about depression, and I'd like to start that by apologising for the whole everything going on here. I have had a really hard week and I've sunk into my usual depression. I really went back and forth about whether or not I wanted to make this video. But when I looked for other videos on what depression looks like, I just got so frustrated that everybody just looks so pretty. And I mean, I know there are lots of memes about how depression doesn't look like depression, and somebody with depression can look happy and normal and fine and still be depressed, but that's just not what depression looks like all the time to me. So to me, depression just looks like this, like lack of self-care, lack of effort, lack of giving a damn what anybody thinks about me, but at the same time caring very, very much what people think, that they think I'm a pain, that I'm disgusting, that I'm the worst person in the whole world. So I'm sorry you have to see me like this, but I kind of think it makes the video a little more honest. Speaking of memes, this video is somewhat inspired by the meme about oversharing mental illness because of mental illness. Those that know me well see me on Facebook oversharing all the time, so I figured I'd just continue the trend here. So I'm sure everyone has heard of depression and knows the fundamentals. Its characteristic low mood is typically seen as extreme sadness, but quite often that low mood can be just feeling nothing. There are some days where I wish I could just feel extremely sad and just cry because it alleviates some of the intensity. Depression also lowers your motivation, your self-esteem, and your tolerance of everything. Often this just results in me spending all day in bed just wishing I was tired enough to sleep the day away so I wouldn't have to suffer through it. In the long term as well, I regularly suffer with what my doctor calls anhedonia, which literally means a lack of ability to feel joy. Depression also comes with intense guilt for your condition, and this can actually be more debilitating than the low mood itself. If I could just lie in bed and wait for it to be over, I'm sure I could entertain myself and suffer through it somehow, but the guilt of knowing that while I'm choosing to opt out of real life, there are people running behind me making up for all of the things I've dropped, just makes me feel like the worst person in the world. I feel like these people would have a much easier life if I didn't exist, and that's without even going into the realms of suicidal ideation, which is not something I want to discuss here. The people that do this running around after me and looking after me are just the most amazing people in the world, and there is truly no way to show them how grateful I am for them. And I struggle with that every day as well, and they just say that that is part of the depression as well. So where does autism come into this? Well, of course, autism in a nutshell is difficulty in struggling with the world around you, and adding this extra layer of difficulty just magnifies all of that. It's said that 1 in 5 adults will suffer from some form of depression in their lives, but when you add autism into that, that stat increases to 1 in 2, half. That means that for every autistic person you meet, and that's roughly 1 in 100 people, the chance that they've suffered depression in their life is literally a coin flip. And that's just adults suffering with depression. Children suffer from depression too. In fact, according to the CDC, 5% of children suffer from depression. And when you factor in autism, some studies have shown that up to 30% of autistic children have suffered depression at some point in their lives. These stats don't even account for children not yet diagnosed with autism and those that don't receive mental health help. For instance, I have suffered from what I would describe as depression since I was 11 years old, but I was repeatedly rebuffed and turned away by doctors who said I was too young to be treated until I was almost 18 years old. I didn't even know childhood mental health treatment facilities existed until I was already an adult. Autism is hard, and parts of being a child and a teenager just make it so much harder, and depression is just an extra layer of awful on top of that. Although the symptoms of depression don't change with autism. There are so many aspects of autism that are intrinsic in the causes of depression. So lack of ability to communicate, lack of ability to understand the world, bullying, burnout from the stress of trying to maintain a normal life, all contribute to the development of depression. When you add to this mix that autistic people are 9 times more likely to consider suicide than their neurotypical counterparts, it all adds up to a really, really heartbreaking picture. This kind of turned into a rant about depression, but I think it just kind of summarizes how I'm internally screaming that this isn't fair. I'm still learning to love my autism, to live with it, to understand myself, but a lot of the times when I feel like this, I just feel like it isn't fair. And I just wanted to give some people an insight into what depression feels like. And I mean, today is a day where I'm actually doing better than I have been in recent days, and I'm clearly not functioning 100%. So I hope this helped give some sort of insight, and thank you for watching. I guess I'm gonna just go back to bed now. Bye.